Hi, Shirley.
Hi, I'm a dog trainer and I own K9ology. And part of the work that we do is work with service dogs, right? And I see you brought a service dog here today. So, first question. Does anybody know what a service dog is for or what they do? Go ahead.
If people got hurt, should they come get them?
So one of the jobs is that if people get hurt, they can help them get up, they can fetch somebody to get help, right? And part of our training is we also teach them to go to a safe place. So we teach the dogs actually to take the owner to a nearby wall if they get too crowded or overwhelmed. So there's actually different types of service dogs. There's mobility assistance dogs, which is what I'm assuming your dog is trained for. Your dog fetches things for you?
Brittany.
Brittany?
Yeah.
Excellent. So we have mobility assistance dogs. They help owners move or walk. They help owners fetch items if they are physically incapable of doing so. And the main job really is for them to help their owners within their limitations. We also have what we call medical alert dogs. Medical alert dogs are for conditions that may not be visible. Things like diabetes, or seizures, or panic attacks. And there's all kinds of different things that they can be trained for as well, even though they may not need the physical aspect necessarily. Then we also have dogs that help with hearing. People who have hearing issues may have, or are deaf, may have dogs to alert them to different sounds, things that they can't hear, so that the owner is more aware of what's going on around them. Especially if their cell phone goes off, somebody rings the doorbell, there's an alarm going on. So that's primarily what hearing dogs do. They indicate that to owners. Next, we also have guide dogs for the blind. Those dogs help owners navigate. If they have a visual impairment or have difficulty seeing or are unable to see, the dog basically helps them move around and becomes the eyes for their owner. And of course, there's different types of service dogs too, like there's autism support dogs that help kids as well. So, now that we know what service dogs are, why do we use them?
Somebody
Go
tell
for
us
it.
the reason.
Because people got hurt, call 911.
Okay.
So that can help.
What kind of dogs are there? That she told you.
The service dog.
Different types. I'll do one, medical.
Medical, yep. So the reason we
She
use
just
them,
said, what'd you say? Hearing.
hearing, yep.
If strangers here, they can bark. What's going on?
So actually you don't want a dog to vocalize too much. You don't want too much barking. And that's really important. You want to know why?
Why?
A really well-trained service dog should not be heard or seen. They should be almost invisible if they're trained well. Service dogs basically help people function in day-to-day lives. A lot of these people depend on their dogs. They cannot live full lives unless the dogs are there to help them. And that gives them a better quality of life. It helps them function at home better. It helps them work in public better. And really, they're really treated like medical equipment, right? They are a medical assistance to the owner, right? Good.
And you know, they were sharing with me this morning that it looks very sad when they can't. And what I was sharing with them is how we feel like when we volunteer. We feel important. They're doing a job, and that makes them feel important.
So that brings me into a really good point. So like we do a service dog training program, and our program, the first step is to actually ask the owners what their limitations are, what they need assistance with, and then we basically have a generic program that's 8 months long, but parts of that program is to train specific tasks to help the owner with their condition. Whether that be a medical alert dog, a mobility dog, a hearing dog, or a psychological assistance dog. These dogs are trained to help their owner's symptoms and help their conditions. Some of the tasks that we train is we do brace work, which means the dog will help steady the owner if they're moving. If they fall down, they can brace to help get up. We train that as well. We also train dogs that if somebody gets overly anxious, We teach them to put their paws on their lap so that that creates touch and creates a wrap or embrace. And that pressure helps calm the owner down.
See, that's me too.
That's you too? Yeah, we do that training too. Does your dog jump up and help you with pressure? Excellent. So that's one thing we do. We tell them to remind their owners to take their medications. We teach the dogs to come and nudge the owner in the thigh or anywhere else that's accessible so that the owner remembers to take their medication. And in some cases, believe it or not, we've even trained the dogs to then fetch the medication in a satchel or a pouch for the owner so that they remind them to take the medication and then bring the meds directly to the owner.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
You're going to learn loads today. Yeah? So service dog training is very intensive. It is not just, training a dog to sit, lay down, and stay, right? It's a lot of work.
They know when a person's about ready to get sick.
Yes, they do. They will alert. Diabetes dogs are trained to alert if somebody is sick and if there's a change in their blood glucose levels. People who have seizures, the dogs will also alert the owner. So that's a very good point, right?
I don't know. How would my mom do blood sugar? How would do about that one? She
Yeah.
got blood. She got I don't mean to say this to you, but mom got blood sugar really, really low. What do you about that one?
So there are dogs that are trained to indicate to the owner when their blood sugar goes down.
Sorry, I'm just saying.
No, that's absolutely fine, honey. So, diabetes alert dogs are trained specifically for that.
I didn't know that.
There you go. So, part of the training involves first obedience and manners training, which means you have to have control over the dog. Then we train them for what we call public access. Think about all the things that you guys do where you have to go up and down ramps, up and down escalators, elevators, through
Steps.
revolving doors, steps, getting used to being in public, being in crowds, and then also restaurants, movie theaters. We take our dogs on airplanes, trains, automobiles. You name it, our dogs get trained to it. We do also day-long trips to Washington, D.C. We go to the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
We deal with crowds.
They're probably used to it.
Yeah, but you got to get them used to it, right? You can't just assume that they're used to it. You got to train them through that. And then the last part of the training is the kind of aspect of specialty tasks, right? Whatever the condition the owner has, we then train tasks specifically to help mediate that condition so that the dog can be used for that owner, okay? So if we think about it, that's a lot of work. And you want to know what? A service dog is only truly a service dog if they have those specialty tasks in place. Do you guys know about the ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act?
Nope.
Yes.
That is a legal document that basically tells people with disabilities their rights. And in order for the dog to be compliant with the ADA, your dog has to be good in public. It cannot be loud or be aggressive or be intrusive or disruptive in public. And it has to be trained for the medical condition. We're seeing a lot of dogs now with vests on, and unfortunately a lot of them are imposters or are fake. People are putting capes on pet dogs. People are using dogs, even though they're well behaved, and letting people pet them. Why is that such a problem?
Brittany, I used to always say that everybody's ignoring Brittany and everybody's paying attention to Haley when she first came.
So yeah, there is a thing of everybody goes, oh my God, dog! And the person becomes invisible. Sure, that can be a problem. But let me put it this way to you guys. Imagine somebody has a seizure disorder, and that dog is trained to alert to seizures. Every second that you distract that dog by looking at them, kissing to them, see? The dog got up, right?
Yeah.
Talking to them, oh, what a good girl you are, Haley, right? Even speaking to the owner and saying, oh, is that a service dog? What is it trained for? Those precious moments that you take away from the dog working, means the dog is not focused on the owner. What if the owner is having a seizure? What if the dog is not tuned into the owner and strictly paying attention to their human? By distracting them, you are causing a problem for them, and you're putting them at risk, especially for dogs that alert to people. But even a mobility assistance dog, if you let your dog say hi to everybody, and you're at a store, or you want to pick something up and you need her assistance to bring it to you, but she is distracted, can your dog do her job? No, right? So one of the big things that we work on in service dog training is teaching them to focus exclusively and only on the owner.
But you have to train them to do that.
You do have to train them to do that, and it takes a lot of practice. We're talking hundreds of hours.
That's a lot.
So you know what's really bad, guys?
Don't pet her.
But that's so true. Don't pet her. But let's go more into that. Do not disturb the service dog. Don't pet them. Don't talk to them. Don't touch them. Don't distract them. Don't whistle to them. Don't ooh and ah over them. Do not cause them disruption to their owner. Make sure to be respectful. And make sure that they pay attention only to their owner, especially when that vest is on. Now, the way that we train here is that if your dog has the vest on, it's like wearing a suit. If you have a vest on, you are working.
Sure she, right?
Exactly. Right now, her vest is on and that dog is working. So we should not interrupt her. However, at home or when the vest is off, we do give our dogs breaks. When the vest is off, you may ask, could I please pet your dog?
With the vest on, don't pet her.
No petting, no talking, no touching with the vest on. None of it. Okay? You got it?
Does everybody kind of get that? Because that was a very key point there.
Yeah.
Is a split second of being distracted, Brittany could get hurt.
Yes, that
Something
is
could
very
happen
true.
to Brittany. Somebody
Yeah.
could even talk to Brittany, coach her to go off. The dog's not paying attention
Mm-hmm.
because you've spoken so what you have to say.
You cannot distract service dogs. Now, if you're in public and somebody has a patch on their dog that says ask to pet, the majority of the time that will not be a real service dog. And that is a good way to spot a fake service dog. If somebody says, oh, can I pet your dog? And they say, sure, and the dog is wearing a vest, it is most likely that that dog truly is not a service dog. Now, has anybody heard about emotional support dogs?
Nope.
Let me tell you about this because people do talk about it. An emotional support dog is not specifically trained for the owner. It is not required to have obedience skills and commands. It is not required to have public access skills. Emotional support dogs are there for the well-being of the owner. However, they do not help with a medical condition. Be that medical condition psychiatric or physical. But an emotional support dog is not a service dog. And because they are not a service dog, they do not fall under the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. An emotional support dog is not granted or allowed access to public like a service dog. An emotional support dog is a pet. Anybody here have a pet?
I have a cat.
You have a cat? Anybody else have a pet?
I'll have one cat.
That's good.
Name.
Cats are also emotional support animals.
I named it Patty Claus. Like I slept on the bed last night, like pat
Yeah.
my stomach. Like I said, what are you doing, Patty? He said, I'm gonna go back to sleep on my ball and go back to sleep on my stomach.
There you go. Yeah, and that provides comfort. When our pets sleep with us and they live with us, they provide comfort, and that's what an emotional support dog does. Now, people with diagnosed conditions who have a doctor's note or a doctor's letter are protected or covered under the Housing Act. So you have to consider the Fair Housing Act states that if you have a doctor's note and you have a pet, that you basically are allowed in certain housing where otherwise pets may be restricted. But really the Fair Housing Act is not the ADA. It is not the Americans with Disabilities Act. And it does not mean that an emotional support animal that may provide comfort to the owner and make them feel safe and secure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It may provide comfort and stuff like that.
It does, but here's the thing. Your dog, Haley,
Yeah.
she provides comfort and support, right?
Yeah.
But is she trained to do other things as well?
Yeah.
Exactly. So a service dog is also going to provide comfort, but in order to be a service dog, they have to also help with conditions and have very specifically trained skills and tasks, right?
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about how do you approach someone with a service dog? What do you do? So option number one, okay? You may look, but then please look away, because even if you stare at the dog forever, staring right at him, the dog is gonna look back, right? You gonna do it, Haley? Yeah, she's staring right back at me. Those 10 seconds that I'm staring at that dog, she is not tuned into her owner. How about if I go up to the dog and I say, hey, what's up? Oh my God, you're so cute. Can I pet her? No.
No, because disturbing the dog.
Exactly. The dog is working, and when a dog has a cape on or a vest and is working, you do not talk to them and approach them. Do not ask to pet them. How about you go up to the dog and talk to the dog, but not the owner? Is that polite?
No, talk to owner first.
That was
then.
a very big point of mine.
Yeah, it's not
Everybody
polite,
said that to
guys.
Brittany today.
So you want to know what's best? If the person with the service dog looks friendly, and if they make eye contact with you, right? Then you may go up and ask questions, but please ask the owner and speak to the owner, not the dog. But here's the other thing. If Brittany is cruising around and she's doing her thing and her dog is working and you look at the dog but she doesn't look back at you, what do you think that means?
It's not training her right.
It means she doesn't want to be disturbed. Right? If I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you, I'm engaging with you, I want to be involved with you and speak with you. But if I look away and I look over here, do I look like I want to talk to you right now?
No.
So eye contact is very important. Now, if the owner of the service dog makes eye contact, you're more than welcome to say, that is a beautiful dog. Or, yeah, that's really nice, right?
Stop talking to the dog.
That is a beautiful dog, or I'm happy that you have a dog working for you. Make polite, positive comments, right? And you can, talk to them about the dog, but let's talk about what you shouldn't do, okay?
Pet them when they're working.
No petting when working, no talking, no touching, no nothing, right? None of it.
Let's post that on the board.
Yes,
See?
we're gonna inscribe it on the wall, right? So, how about you shouldn't ask about their condition or disability. You don't go up to somebody and say, what's wrong with you? That's very rude.
I've heard, Brittany, you've heard before, why do you have a disability dog? Why do you have a
That's
service dog?
ridiculous.
It is.
Why do you have a service dog? That is also not appropriate. And Brittany, in case you didn't know, it is actually illegal for store owners and people on airplanes and people of businesses and organizations to single you out or to ask you about your condition. It is illegal for them to do so. Okay? You also shouldn't ask, and it's not allowed to ask, what is the dog trained to do? And you are not allowed to ask for the dog to demonstrate the skills. That is private.
Yeah.
Right? It's private.
We've had that a couple times too.
Yeah.
So when somebody asks, so let's talk about what can we do? If I go up to somebody and I'm working with a service dog and they come up to me and they say, well, you don't look like there's anything wrong with you, which does happen. It's very rude, and it does happen. You can say, this is a service dog and we are working. No, thank you. And you can move on.